You have Seth Godin endorsing this book.
No, we talked a lot about some good stuff. We touched on AI and SEO and the whole anti-agency model side of things, which I'm glad you brought that up because it's always nice to clarify that. What I've been telling a lot of people recently is
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Jolly SEO's TLDR. This week, Sarah Ney, CEO of Duct Tape Marketing and author of Unchained. I'm really grateful you're here, Sarah. Thank you for taking the time.
thanks for having me on, Greg. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and Duct Tape Marketing have decades of marketing experience, and things, at least us in the SEO world, we've noticed things are changing. So your book is really timely, and I'm excited to dive into the lessons that you're sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're feeling the same way. Duct tape marketing as a business has been around for about 31 years. I've been with the company for 16, and I've never experienced change so quickly, so rapidly, so much chaos at once. And so a lot of people are feeling that in both the marketing space, but also the small business space as well.
Are you, like a lot of us, thinking AI, 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 and that's the catalyst for the change, or are you seeing other causes?
I think it's a big part of it. AI is influencing all areas of business and all areas of marketing. And so I think it's definitely a driver right now in the change, in the pace.
Yeah. Yeah, and I imagine to some extent, um, probably around since you started your tenure with duct tape was like social media coming on the scene. That was the big change maker.
Yeah, absolutely. And our founder, John Jantz, he's been in the space for years now. And so he was through the evolution of websites becoming a thing, like online presence becoming a thing, and then social media becoming a thing, and now AI. And so it's just been these big moments in marketing over the years. But he'll even say this one feels a bit different than when websites and social became a thing. But I will also say that it seems like people have been freaking out and really excited about AI. And now there's this change, a little bit of a shift of, okay, maybe it's not as crazy as we thought it was going to be yet. Maybe it's not impacting us as much yet, and maybe it's a little harder to make an impact with. And so it is causing, I think there was just great excitement, and now it's causing people to slow down a little bit right now and actually figure out how to make AI work for them versus just creating more noise.
Yeah, it's really interesting that perspective that this one feels a little different, balanced with, well, maybe there is a hype cycle involved as
Yep.
well. And
Hmm.
we're just humans. We can buy into that. As an SEO, our industry has died many, many times over the
Hmm.
decades. As you know,
Yep.
that's a very common joke in our industry that SEO is dead. And this time it felt maybe we really are dead. I'm not sure. And sure enough, it turns out that there are best practices to get your brand mentioned in the next generation of search inside these LLMs. So maybe it's
Yeah.
not dead. Oh, yeah, I'm curious your thoughts on that, and then I'd love to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually saw a chart on LinkedIn someone shared. It was like the amount of times SEO has died over the last several years, and the chart of like importance is like going up, and then it was like all these points where they like should have died. SEO should have died along the way, but it kept just gaining in traction and importance. And I agree. Like people who were like SEO is dead, it's like you're being dramatic again. It's not dead. It's just changing. It's evolving. In the past, we focused a lot, as you know, on keywords and stuff along those lines. And I'm not saying those aren't important today, but what also is important is answering questions and focusing on like bottom of the funnel type of content to get to people to actually convert. So it's just shifting in strategy. It's not dying.
Yeah, and another interesting shift I've seen, I don't know, as a marketer, your perspective, I think a lot of SEOs are having a moment where we're realizing we are marketers. We're supposed to be anyhow. We should be considering ourselves part of the marketing team. Whereas, at least for the decade I've been in SEO, they've typically seen themselves as apart from and often looked down upon brand marketers because
Yeah.
they're all about the metrics and more like performance marketers they view themselves as.
Yeah, for a long time, we've preached in the small business space that you really need your marketing team to be aligned and on the same page and working together. And so that's where I think, some small businesses struggle with outsourcing SEO, is if they outsource SEO to one company over here, and then another company over here is handling like content production. To me, those things need to be intertwined, working together, working towards the same goals. And so that's where a lot of people struggle. And so for a long time in the space, we've taught, it's great if you're going to use partners, contractors, outsourced agencies, but make sure that there's someone leading all of those and someone making sure all of those solutions are working towards the same goal based on a marketing strategy that you hopefully created.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to get right back to it. Real quick, if you're not sure how you're showing up in AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and the like, click on that first link in the description. If you fill that out for us, we'll send you your own AI visibility report and see how we can help you boost your results. All right, without further ado, remember that link and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's my chance to ask you. I felt like shots fired there with the book. There's a section, the anti-agency model. And I've got thin skin, Sarah, and I'm always like worried that my agency is on thin ice as well. So what do you mean? Why are we anti-agency here?
Yeah, and so the key thing is anti-agency model, not anti-agency. We are an agency ourselves at Duct Tape Marketing. We've been for 31 years. For 17 years, we've certified and trained marketing consultants, fractional CMOs, and agencies in our approach. So those are our people, and we are one. But in all of that experience, I've experienced a lot of things that are broken with the actual model itself on both the agency side and the small business side. So speaking as an agency leader, challenges that we've experienced, which I'm sure you've probably experienced over the years as well, are things like burnout and being treated like vendors or doers, or trying to scale and maintain profitability while keeping the right people in place. Like there's just a lot of challenges in the model itself as an agency. But in the small business side, there's a lot of challenges as well when they simply outsource their marketing to an agency and they have no idea what that agency is doing. They're not involved. They pay every month. They hope that that agency is getting them results, but they don't have control. There's been scenarios over the years where I've heard from small businesses that are, saying things like, I'm paying this SEO company. I have no idea if they're doing anything or what they're doing or if they're getting me results, but they send me this foreign report and I keep paying because someone told me I need to do SEO. Or I've heard stories like, I hired this marketing agency and they built our website, but they own the domain and the hosting. And if we leave them, they take the website with them. Or someone's running my Google ads and I can't even log into the account. So stories like that was what put small businesses in situations where they don't actually have ownership or control. And so I think the best path forward for small businesses and agencies is really working as a partnership in collaboration when it comes to marketing. And so coming in as a marketing agency like ourselves and creating a strategy for the business, marketing strategy based on the business strategy, collaborating with their leaders along the way. And then when we go into execution, if my team is still executing for the client, we are educating them. We're setting up systems and processes they can use. We're using their tools and platforms. And so when we part ways, they're in a better place than when we came together versus a worse off place. So again, I'm not saying agencies are bad. I just think there's a right way to approach relationships right now, especially in the age of AI, because clients can do more execution on their own than they ever have been able to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going out of business tomorrow. That's good. No, but I agree with you, right? We have to add a horror story to yours. We have even quite informed clients, and informed in the context of SEO, which is all we do at Jolly. And stories like, well, we made a great case study for the SEO because the traffic chart is going up and to the right, but we are a finance company and the traffic all came from articles related to cats, and this doesn't drive business for us. So, it goes just, we could keep going, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And that's an informed person. So we always like to work with our best fit seems to be those who know how to use us best. We're a tool as a productized service agency, but for the business owner listening or maybe even for the seasoned marketer SEO who's just trying to adapt to this new GEO, AIO, AEO, whatever we want to call it,
Whichever
era,
one.
or they're trying to go into a new channel of social or something where they're just not informed. How do they vet this vendor, this outsourced partner, so they're not getting abused like this and they can actually hope to get some ROI?
Yeah, I always tell small businesses when they're trying to decide who they should work with in terms of marketing solutions is you need to do some deep thinking as a business first. So what is the business trying to accomplish? What could a marketing strategy look like to get there? I'm not saying as a business owner you have to create the full marketing strategy, because if that's not your expertise, it's difficult to do. But then answering the question of who do we currently have in place? What gaps do we have? And then how are we going to fill them? And so you really have to think through that stuff first before you can say, okay, who should I hire? So let's say you go through that exercise and you understand what your business is trying to accomplish. You have some ideas with marketing strategy, but you identify you don't have a leader on your team, a marketing leader on your team. The next step I would include doing is finding a marketing leader that can help you create a full marketing strategy. And so that might be a fractional CMO, or that might be a full-time hire, or a strategist, a consultant, whoever it might be. But bringing in someone that can really help you get crystal clear on the marketing strategy is key, because then you'll know exactly what you should be doing and when. And then you can answer the question of, okay, who do we already have on our team? Where are our gaps from a marketing standpoint? And then you might identify you don't have any SEO specific talent on your team. And so then you can start, having that marketing leader that you have in place vet and interview SEO solutions to make sure that they're doing things like communicating clearly and educating and sharing the reports and talking you through the analytics and helping you stay educated on how you need to shift from an SEO standpoint and being your trusted advisor in that specific lane. And so those are the steps I would go through. Again, is it's the business strategy, marketing strategy with the help of a leader, and then it's determining your gaps and then going through a thoughtful process to bring in the right solutions.
Yeah, I think that could apply to any department. I know we both have oversight of an agency, and there's so many things as a small business owner or CEO that you need to have oversight of that you may personally not have expertise in. In fact, I probably have expertise in none of them at this point that I have to provide oversight. So that seems like a very thoughtful process. Sarah, I'm thinking as we're reaching towards the end of our time together here, you have deep expertise in the fractional world, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't give enough consideration to. That's
Yeah.
helped us out a lot, for example, in the finance area, where I don't have an MBA, haven't run a business before. I think a lot of agency owners are looking for marketing and sales advice when they approach me like, hey, could you tell me what you've learned? I'm like, honestly, like pay a fractional CFO and get some help there, because
Yeah.
they're awesome. So bringing it back to marketing, what are some of the common use cases for a fractional CMO that you've seen that maybe an incoming client didn't know they needed, kind of like a don't know what you don't know situation?
Yeah. Of course. So really how I define the role of a fractional CMO is it's coming into a business, it's meeting with the leadership team, it's understanding again what the business is trying to accomplish, it's creating the marketing strategy, but then it's also helping determine who's going to get the work done and then overseeing the execution from there. And so either leading an internal marketing department on the initiatives, or maybe internal plus bringing in some outside solutions as well. But it's really the CMO should be tasked with building out that team structure. And then once that's all built out, it's also the fractional CMO is also tasked with understanding the metrics and talking the other leadership team through the metrics in terms of we're going to do these things and these are the metrics we're going to pay attention to, and this is what's going to determine if it's successful or not. And this is how we're going to know how to shift. So really owning that. And then also the budget. So understanding where the business is currently from a revenue standpoint, making recommendations around how they where their marketing budget should be, but also where they should spend the money, and then keeping tabs on that moving forward. And so the fractional CMO is essentially coming into your business at a fraction of the cost that it would be hiring a CMO, but they're bringing that leadership experience to essentially lead your marketing department.
Yeah, so almost if I was to say very simplistically, it was roughly 4 steps you highlighted in this process. They would almost take it, as long as the business owner can do step 1 and identify what the business needs, they could almost take the ball from there and get everything running and identify internal and find solutions. So I think for any business owner listening, that could be a huge weight off your shoulders to consider. If you don't know where to go, find the right person and let them figure out how to do that, since that's probably their expertise, not yours.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a really great solution in the small business space, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners that get into business and then they realize they need to market. And so they do a couple things. They either just outsource and delegate it and lose control, or they learn as much as they can about marketing. And now all of a sudden they're the CEO and CMO, and that's really challenging. And so I think the fractional CMO is a great approach where you can bring in someone with that skill set. You can stay involved as the CEO in terms of the decisions that are being made and providing insight along the way. But you can stay in your zone of genius and stay in the seat of the why you started the business in the first place, and not have to learn a whole new industry that's changing every single day right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, as we're wrapping up here, my favorite question to ask, and I'm especially excited to ask you have Seth Godin endorsing this book. So if anybody needed a reason to check out Unchained, or at least find Sarah and ask some questions, or at least listen to the last couple minutes here, I'd love to ask you, what did I not ask that as we're wrapping up, you're like, why didn't we talk about this? I can't believe he didn't even ask me. Why are we ending now?
No, we talked a lot about some good stuff. We touched on AI and SEO and the whole anti-agency model side of things, which I'm glad you brought that up, because it's always nice to clarify that. What I've been telling a lot of people recently is marketing, it just feels really overwhelming right now to agencies, to SEO people, to business owners. And so you're not alone if you're feeling anxious or you're just not sure what to do next. But what I'm telling people right now is you're not alone. And if you take a step back to just pause and put the work in that we talked about in this episode to create the marketing strategy, you're going to be in such a better place in the near future. Also, I see a lot of people just trying to do more and more. So more tools, more technology, more AI systems in their business, more channels, and people are getting spread too thin and they're getting burnout. And so go back to, where are your ideal clients? Where should you connect to them? What lights you up? And really focus on less right now versus trying to be absolutely everywhere.
Less is more. I love it.
Less is more.
Sarah and Nate, if people want to find you, we got ducttapemarketing.com, which if you needed a better brand name, I don't know. That one's already taken. So, and unchainedmodel.com. Anywhere else people can look for you?
I'm active on LinkedIn as well. So again, my name is just Sarah Nay on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, Greg.